Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming back to our next edition of Econ Talks with Infometrics Chief Forecaster Gareth Kiernan and myself, Brad Olsen, discussing some of the changing trends we're seeing throughout the economy. And Gareth, at the moment, conditions are still tough for a lot of people out there across New Zealand. Household budgets are being stretched.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard a lot about a sort of a sugar rush of spending over the last couple of months since lockdown eased, but you've got some indicators there that show that there is a substantial proportion of households who are doing it tough.
Yeah, absolutely. Some numbers that have recently come out show just how much people are withdrawing from their Kiwi savers for financial hardship. Does really impress upon us how many people are doing it tough and just simply don't have the amount of money that they need to make ends meet. In the July month, you saw nearly $15 million withdrawn from KiwiSaver for hardship reasons. That was around about 50% more than you saw last July. A real sizable increase as well, even on the last few months. Up until March this year, the values were quite a bit lower. From March, you've seen sort of a good at least $12 million each month be withdrawn. This month, July, that $15 million is the highest so far, and demonstrates, I think, that households have managed to push through in recent months, but have really made it up till now and then gone, look, things remain quite difficult. The other interesting bit, of course, is that the average amount that people are withdrawing has also risen. So it's not just that more people are taking money out, it's that more people are taking more money out of their Kiwi savers, demonstrating just how tough it is moving forward.
Yeah, I think something of a dichotomy there between people who are still in work and life continues on largely as normal, and then you've got a proportion of people who either had their income reduced or have lost their jobs. And we've seen that, of course, coming through in the job seeker numbers as they've been rising from MSD as well. But MSD not only supporting people through the job seeker benefit, but also other payments as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was has been an interesting difference in the last few weeks. The up until the week ending 7 August, we saw actually quite a big jump in some of the grants that were being paid out by MSD. Total special needs grants up over 38,000. That's quite high sort of compared to historically, and was also about 2,000 more than the week before. And so we have seen quite a steady trend of people still needing support. Again, highlighting that just that inability to make ends meet. We know, for example, that people are struggling sometimes to meet their housing costs. Food hasn't gotten any cheaper in recent times. So all of those changes do mean that household budgets are smaller. People don't have as much money, but the outgoing costs remain relatively similar. Now, we did have quite a big decline actually in the week up until 14 August, but I think that's probably more of a timing issue. People figuring out where they may or may not be able to get support. Worthwhile profiling as well, Gareth, that we've had a good, I think, 3,000 odd people who have gone on to some sort of government jobless support in the last few weeks as well. So although we haven't seen a massive spike in unemployment yet, and that is certainly good news, we do continue to see those job losses mount. And again, that reinforces how tough it is for people moving forward.
Yeah, I think there's early signs there as the wage subsidy extension expires. I mean, I know we've had that pushed out by a couple of weeks due to the lockdown in Auckland, but I think we will see over coming next 2 or 3 months probably those jobless numbers rise quite a bit quicker than we have. And I think those stresses on households will continue to increase for a substantial proportion of people.
Absolutely, and again, those KiwiSaver numbers was $15 million in July, but since the start of March, you've seen 66 million withdrawn. Quite a sizable amount of cash there that people are looking to get. Now, remembering you can't withdraw your entire KiwiSaver at once, and you do have to have some pretty good proof of just how hard it is. So it's more the last resort for many than the first resort in terms of people being able to pay their bills. And the mere fact that you've had 66 million withdrawn is quite significant. Worthwhile though, and certainly what you were talking about just a minute ago, Gareth, that there's a bit of a dichotomy here. You've also, over that same period since March this year, had nearly 500 million withdrawn by first home buyers who are trying to top up their deposit. And of course, that's quite a shift. On one hand, you've got these people who are doing it tough. They can't sort of meet their bills. They're trying to figure out how that household budget can continue to stretch and stretch and stretch. Whereas at the same time, you've got a bunch of Kiwis who are trying to get on the housing ladder. Now, sure, interest rates are low, but those deposits, we had a quick look at some numbers over the weekend. You're talking about 2/3 of the country that needs $100,000 plus just for the mortgage deposit. So a lot of people still struggling to make it there. So one group struggling to make ends meet at the present, another group trying to get on the housing ladder, for example, and that's still not necessarily easy. So I think as we continue to see these challenges evolve, we are going to have to note that household budgets are being stretched, and that's a reality, I think, for people who are thinking of putting up prices or just how much revenue is coming through the economy. If households don't have cash, they simply can't spend as much as they used to.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you say, tough times and a big dichotomy, a big divergence. And I think that's been one of the sort of key facets of this downturn so far, is just how unequally it has affected people. And like we said, some people doing it the same as normal and other people being quite heavily hit.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thanks so much, Gareth. Always lovely to chat. And we'll see everyone else back on the next edition of our Econ Chats at some point later. Cheers.